Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED this weekend. Pete Belcastro with you. I'm a real estate broker with John L. Scott in Southern Oregon, and we get together with you once a week here on KMED to talk about all sorts of real estate-related topics. And thank you for being with us here as Thanksgiving is coming up, and hope next week that you have a terrific holiday. When we talk to you a week from today, Brad Bennington of the Home Builders will be along, and we'll update you on that. Hope you do have, a very safe holiday weekend. Well, you know, the market has just been, 2015 has been quite a year. And I think who better to talk about it and share information with us than two terrific John L. Scott agents who've joined us here in the studio, Dee Wittenberg and Don McCoy. Welcome to you both. Nice to have you here, first of all.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Pete.
You're looking really good today as well. Yeah? All right. Anyway, as we go along here, Dee, just tell people a little bit. We've seen your name around, on signs and stuff. Tell us, you've been a broker how long? How did you get into the broker business?
I've been in the business about 10 years. And before that, I was in human resources and then tax preparation and financial services. And those are all service-related items. But some of that was pretty intangible. And I felt like I wanted to do something that's more tangible, that I could see some, results from.
Yeah.
And so I got into it that way.
So you started your real estate world right before the Great Recession.
And I can't believe I stuck it out.
And you survived it. That's really good because, a lot of people didn't. Joe and I became brokers right in 2007. And we saw that a lot of people really suffered from that. So you survived. Good for you.
Yes, thanks.
Another agent who survived was Don McCoy, and who returns back to radio. Don and I go way back. We're not even going to tell people the years we go back, but you're an ex-radio guy.
That's right, Pete.
Yeah. You were the real McCoy.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, I can't hear a thing that you're saying.
Okay.
But that's all right.
All right. Well, anyway,
I will just somehow manage to. There we go. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
now I can hear what's going on.
All right. Yeah.
Hey, we go way back. Back when we were in the cow pasture.
Back KCMX down in Ashland.
Yeah.
You became a broker after that as well. So we've all three of us have started
always
some
been
other
in,
world before we became real estate brokers.
I've always been in business. So I always had my own businesses. And some people might remember the Jacksonville Gold Mine Tour. My gosh, I ran that for 3 seasons, and Jacksonville finally had its first gold mine tour. And then for over 10 years, 12 years, I had a trade and barter association here in the Valley. A lot of folks remember. And it was a big deal. There were 5,000 business members. And I created that from scratch. And then one of my members of that trade association talked me into getting into real estate.
Is that right?
And hit it just right, 2001. And rode the wave.
And you rode the wave and still do it.
Wow.
And you both still enjoy it, I can tell, because you're both active in our office and lots of things. And a little bit later on in the show, Dee's going to share with us one of the most unique things that I've ever heard of real estate brokers involved with, and that's the Earth Angels Foundation. It's the holiday season, so we want to share some information with that, and people may be able to help out what the foundation does. Anyway, that's at the end of the show today. So tell me about what you think of 2015. What kind of a year has it been, the market here in Jackson County that you've experienced?
It's been a big change, very, very big improvement. Happy time, it seems like, for the Valley and the people who are associated with it. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that's happening right now is we don't have enough inventory out there for the buyers.
Yeah. So you've just seen the year been a good one then. All sorts of buyers, sellers, and things like that.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. Don, you
well,
the
last
same
year,
way?
Last year was a better year in 2014 than the year before, and this year, in my experience, I've doubled it. In volume and everything else, and it's just wonderful. It's good to see the market coming back. It's great for our community. It's great for businesses. It's great for all the ripple effect, if you will, that happens in the community economically. Real estate, as we know, is a driving force, making things happen economically.
I've always amazed, since the years that I've been in it now, how big of an economic impact the whole real estate world is. We're talking, everybody involved, from lenders to escrow officers, inspectors, and things. It truly is a very widespread economic impact on the thing. Who are the buyers, I guess, that you've seen? I always ask brokers who come in, where are the people coming who are driving the market? It cannot be just just jobs thing, because we don't have a whole lot of jobs. We're not getting a lot of wage growth here for the people who are here. So tell me where your experience has been. Where are the buyers coming from? Who are they that are moving into our valley?
For me, it's basically seems like it's been retirees or people who have jobs that they're having from their homes.
Home work. Okay,
right.
Working from home.
Right.
All right, so they can move here for that.
Right.
And
the buyers.
And retirees, we talk about that. Our valley is attracting this, and you're confirming that again. Are they coming from all over? Is it California? Where are you seeing them coming from?
Well, I've seen and heard people coming from New York, from Tennessee, from Texas, from Ohio, Montana, Virginia, Washington, everywhere. Not just California.
Not just California out of the deals. Don, what about you?
Well,
tell me that.
Yeah, we remember the statistics here. The last few years, Oregon's been the number one place that the moving vans have been coming to.
Yeah.
That's
number
true.
one in the country. So we've got people moving in here from all over the place. I had some clients from Manhattan, a whole bunch from California, of course, but also Washington and Portland, other parts of the state of Oregon. They're just tired of the weather up north, and they want to get down here where it's a little bit drier. And it's just coming from all over. And then internally, there's people that are shifting, right here in the local demographics.
And that's really true. People who are really hurt, whether it was the people moving up, so you're seeing some of that. In other words, I can buy a better home now. My property value has increased. We've certainly seen that happen, haven't we? That the value has increased from that low after the 2008-9 crash.
That's right. If I remember right, and Dee, you might remember, the last 2 years we averaged, 26% equity growth.
Big increases,
coming
double
back.
digits. That's not good.
Yeah,
not good.
Yeah, but 13% a year. And then this year we're on track to do about the same, 1% a month.
This year, the assessor said was 7% overall increase in the valley, based upon January 1, 2015. Remember, and then so we'll have a new one coming out, for 2000. It goes on 2016. But the point there was that the valuation slowed down, Don, because we can't sustain double-digit valuation increases again.
Well,
No, I hope not.
At a certain point, certainly, but look how low the market dropped. We lost, 50% in some cases.
Yeah.
And so a little bit of a bounce back like this where we're getting up a third, close to a half of where we were in 2005.
Well, certainly most of the equity has been recovered. I mean, I think that's
I'd
really
say
a lot of
so.
cases.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
That's what
A lot
I've
of
noticed.
cases.
Yes,
Coming
it's been very good.
And I think that is a good sign for us.
Definitely.
And it's kind of tricky because some folks just don't realize that, my gosh, maybe I better check the valuation of my house. We've been wanting to sell, but afraid to sell because so much equity was lost. And now there's a good chance that you've recovered. So folks need to take a good look at it.
Now, this is a supply and demand business. I mean, there's just I've never seen one quite as supply and demand as housing is.
That's what makes the country go round.
And it does. Now, inventory-wise, we look at the statistics, and it's down. I believe in our office meeting that we have every Tuesday, Jim Remley, who's our managing principal broker, one of his great stats, are the availability of homes right now. And Dee, it's
pretty minimal.
It's bad.
Very bad, yeah. The average month of supply is only 2.6, and so that's not really good showing us as far as how many houses are available for people.
Yeah, and in an average market, it's a 6-month supply makes that supply and demand roughly equal, right? So a buyer and a seller are roughly equal in the negotiation. Is that right? I mean,
Yes.
you agree with that?
That's what we've always.
Okay.
And it's part of what's driving the market up a little bit, these double digits we're talking about, because the inventory is so low, just like you're saying.
Yeah. So what has that been
It's
doing
really tough.
for your clients in pricing? How in the world right now? I mean, I've been showing property, and I think sometimes sellers think that, because they hear us say it's a seller's market.
Right.
And it is a seller's market. I agree with that. But you still got to price things right, and that's
Right.
Dee, how do you advise for that?
Well, yes, there are times whenever people assume that they hear a lot more from the market than they'll hear from the experts, and they'll come up with their own price. And whenever you're looking at prices, you're going to have to consider, how much you would like to have, and that's generally what the sellers are looking at. I'd like to have such and such to help me cushion my retirement or whatever. Or another actuality is you have to look at the probable sales price that you're going to get. And then you have to figure out how much you're going to list it for. And and what you really need to focus on is what you're going to get compared to what is being sold in the market. You can't just create your own price and expect your house to sell.
How much do you tell people regarding appraising? Because that's one of the, I try to tell folks, look, whatever price we end up with, it's got to appraise. We want it to appraise for that price, correct?
Oh, yes. Yes, that's a very good point that we point out to people whenever we're talking to them.
Yeah.
And hoping that sinks in.
Yeah. And I'm sure they listen to Dawn all the time, right? I mean, you have no problem with this, right?
Well, I explained to them, it almost doesn't matter as long as there's a loan involved. It doesn't matter what you go in with your offer because the appraiser's going to settle everything out.
Right.
So go ahead and go in at full asking price as long as the seller understands that, guess what? The appraisal's going to come in a lot less. And in certain circumstances, that strategy is played out pretty nice.
There's a whole era of statistics in real estate that are quite stunning. I thought that John L. Scott has some, I enjoyed the statistics regarding the price range in your area. In other words, $200,000 to $300,000 in a certain neighborhood. What's the availability of inventory there? Because you can price a house based upon some of this. If there's nothing in your price category, well, then you might be able to get your full price that you want. Correct?
You're still going to have the issue of having it appraised.
Right.
It's going to be more difficult to get it appraised if you don't have some other comparables to go with it also.
Well, that's true.
Yes, you're really better off if you do look at what's in black and white in front of you for comparisons instead of just trying to pull something out of the air.
And prices have gone up. Tell me what your experience with in terms of pricing. It's it. People are wanting more, right? It's gone up.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
And it has gone up. And looking at what people did, what the value of their place was 10 years ago compared to with the market rebounding, you do have to look at those considerations.
All of this relates, Pete, it's kind of interesting to directly to the rental market. Everything you're saying about, what's happening in the buying and selling market. The rental market, as we know, has been really suffering this year.
They're really parallel, aren't they, here?
And I've just learned, I did a little bit of survey and some research here, and it's really fascinating what's taken place. We had such a shortage of rentals for people in especially lower income categories, the $900 to $1,200 range. They're screaming for that right now. And rentals increased in price this year. They went up from maybe that range to $1,300 to $1,600, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, depending on the area and the condition. Well, guess what? Now is a beautiful time for investors to jump in, grab some of these lower-end properties, the $100,000 to $200,000 range, fix them up, put them back on the market where appropriate, between $900 and $1,200 a month, and they're going to rent all day long.
Oh, they'd rent all day long.
All day long. And help a ton of people. And that's what the property managers are screaming for right now. They need investors buying the lower-end properties, put a little money into them, and then get them rented.
Do you think because of the low inventory that they're simply not out there? I mean, that would be probably some of the issues.
I think that is an issue. There aren't enough to choose from, and when there is something, they have multiple offers on it. It makes it difficult.
Now, tell me about, by the way, we're with Dee Wittenberg and Don McCoy, two John L. Scott real estate brokers with us today on the Real Estate Show on our JLS Market Watch show. I love hearing your stories because you're right out there, seeing this every day. That's what's really neat about it.
We're in the trenches,
Pete. With agents in the trenches, and it's true. There's so much going on. We don't have obviously we don't have enough housing. We didn't build for so many years now. We're really seeing this. Are you concerned in terms of? Are you still seeing multiple offers on certain range properties? Is it still happening even in October, November? So they're just going out the door fast, aren't they?
There seems to be a universal law that happens. You can have a listing sitting on the market, nothing happening for months and months, and any agent that's been in the business for any period of time can resonate with this. And then all of a sudden, with the same day, within the same half hour, you can get offers from two different sources, had nothing to do with anything. and on the same property. And I've had that happen 4 times this year.
It's so uncanny how that happens.
Yeah.
And sold most of my listings this year, virtually all of them except for 2 that were short sales, and we just couldn't get the price low enough and lost them.
You brought up foreclosed properties. They used to make up 5.5 years ago. They made up 75-80% of this market, which was stunning when we became brokers. Joe and I did. I couldn't believe that. Now that's been totally changed. It's less than 10% of the market now.
Right. Actually, it's closer to 5% now.
See, it even goes down.
Right. The bank owned is about 3%, and the short sale is 2%.
Well, see, that continues that trend. Do you see very many? I mean, I tell people they come on homepath.com. That's really about the only place, because HUD doesn't have very many HUD homes anymore. So homepath.com seems to be the place that you're going to find some of those homes. You have to have a broker, remember, to you can't do it yourself. You must have a broker if you want to buy any of those homes. So there's just a lot going on out there, isn't it? I mean, people are looking. I mean, the number of agents who open lock boxes is like almost 8,500 in a month. That's a lot of looking.
A lot of activity.
A lot of activity. Hey, we're with Dee Wittenberg and Don McCoy on the Real Estate Show today here on KMED. We're talking about, the market around us in Jackson and Josephine County. Don't you dare go away. We're coming right back with more right after this. The Real Estate Show rolls on here on KMED this weekend. Pete Belcastro with you. And hey, thanks for joining us. Don't forget, you can always check out any of our past shows at realestateshowOregon.com or on YouTube as well. All of our shows are there for you. Next week, the home builders will be here. And of course, we wish you a very happy and holiday Thanksgiving weekend coming up, I guess, this next week. So, anyway, we're talking with Dee Wittenberg and Don McCoy, 2 John L. Scott real estate brokers today on the Real Estate Show, talking about the market. Listen, this is just some of these statistics here. I mean, this is what's going on around us. Pending sales are up 26%. New listings actually are up a little bit, 15%. But you know what that means, Don McCoy, is that there's still a gap growing. There's more sales going than new listings replacing them.
That's over a year ago?
This is a year ago. They're pacing a month from a year ago.
Right.
Days in the market are down 28%. That tells you again supply and demand there. Of course, we talked about the available homes per buyer as well. And the most interesting one is the list sale, versus the actual sale price of a home. 96.2%. So people are getting most of their asking price.
Yeah, after price adjustment, because almost every listing does at some point, almost everyone does adjust in price, and then it's in excess of 95% of that final resting place.
That's pretty.
That's pretty strong.
Pretty good, and that's showing you how strong the market is, right, for sellers right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So you got to remember those things. Let me ask you both this question. I haven't asked you about legal marijuana yet in real estate. Dee Wittenberg and Don McCoy. Dee, have you over this summer? I mean, my experience with it is that there are people moving here because you can grow for your own personal plants, et cetera, et cetera. Are you guys seeing? Tell me what your experience has been.
I've sure heard about it. I haven't personally run into anyone who's purchased properties for that reason.
Okay.
And but I've heard plenty of stories about people who have, and that's why the inventory is low, especially on rural property with water, because anything that there was has been purchased.
Yeah.
And very limited.
Yeah. The thing is, it's for people that understood what was about ready to happen here in the state of Oregon. They started jumping on it early spring.
Yeah.
I was getting phone calls and people that were very interested in acquiring some kind of land. And then you had the full spectrum as usual. You had the dreamers, that people that thought they could buy something for $4,000 or $5,000,
right.
People that are well heeled and they have a tremendous amount of investment capital to come in and purchase significant tracts of property for serious growth. And why? Because this area has the climate for it.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing. We are in the valley. I mean, we love living here. Yeah. People want to come here, and it's also a great place to grow. There's no question about that. Well, look how our lands have changed. Rural properties with the influx of wineries, GMO-free Jackson County. And then you add legal marijuana to it now, so you can see how the pressure, the prices on rural properties are just going up faster, by the way, than the rest of the residential properties.
Right, and we've seen a lot of wineries in the area, but there's going to be a new terminology called weederys.
Wheateries.
Destination little resort places to go and sample the medical marijuana side of things.
Okay.
Because not all marijuana is about sit on the couch and
Sure.
watch your life go by.
Yeah.
It's about the medicinal side, which doesn't have that kind of an effect. And it's a big deal that's coming on strong. The
Wheateries.
weedery.
Wheateries.
Yep.
Well,
It's a big deal.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think our valley, because of this, whether you can even grow hemp, et cetera, we're going to see really changes coming, I think, all the way through. We're seeing them now. I mean, Dee, you're going to see that as you go around, just people buying homes and have they, this is what brokers are going to face. Has this been a grow house before? Have we seen these things? Because they're out there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
It's changing homes.
Yeah, agents have been experiencing all cash buyers come up and buy exclusive farm use properties, and land out here in Jackson, Josephine County. They've seen it happen.
It is happening.
One thing I wanted to mention about the weather is having attended a weather seminar that Scott Lewis did. This is considered the Mediterranean temperature, weather growing.
Yeah.
So that's why it's great growing weather for wines, grapes also.
Well, our secrets are out, aren't they? I mean, this is a wonderful place, and that's why we all live here, isn't it? And that's why people want to come here as well, because of those things.
And on that note, Pete, you might know the other very important, serious statistic about this area, being that Oregon's #1 place to move to in recent years, and will continue to be, I believe. But this area is going to double in population over the next 5 to 10 years.
I've when I was back in my news days, they've been saying that Jackson County will double that population by 2020 or whatever. And how we can't even deal with what we have right now. We don't have any places to live. Look at the city of Bend has just approved 1,500 new apartment units to be built there because they have no housing. We haven't done any of this.
Well,
so you talk about
we've got apartments being built. The city of Medford jumped in.
But those are subsidized. Those are subsidized apartments, aren't they? I mean, you talk about $900 to $1,200 or $1,000 in rents. We don't have them here.
No.
So we're really behind, and I don't know what the answer
there is an apartment
shortage.
shortage. There is, and organizations like Access and the Jackson County Housing Authority and all that. What is going on with those guys? Why aren't they stepping in, especially for this low-income housing, purchasing some land with all their grant monies they get, and let's build some apartments that people can afford to live in?
I agree with you. I agree. I mean, we're just falling behind further and further, and so the prices are getting worse and worse for renters, etc. But you are right, though. One thing you may want to look at, because it may be cheaper for you to buy now than it is to rent if you can find the places to buy, but the inventory's down, so it's a vicious cycle all the way around. Well, it's wintertime right now, and Dee Wittenberg's brought some information with us. The inventory is so down. Why would you not want? I've had so many people tell me, I'm going to list my house. We're going to do it in March, in the spring.
They're losing momentum.
Well, they're losing a lot because really many times wintertime is a smart time to list if you're willing to do it. Isn't that true, Dee?
Oh, yes. Actually, there's a lot less competition if you list now because most people are waiting until spring and summer to list their home. And if you do it now, there's a lot less competition.
That's the number one thing to me. Yes. There's less competition on the market right now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then people say, there aren't very many buyers right now. Well, those buyers that are out there are the very serious ones. They're really ready to make a purchase. So you're not going to be wasting your time with showings.
Yes, because if I'm out showing property and it's 20 degrees outside or 30 degrees outside, people better be serious, right?
Yes.
That's right.
And nowadays our trend is we make sure that people are pre-qualified and they're very serious about purchasing a home before we'll show it to them. And then buyers really love the holiday season because the home tells a story during that time. And it's a great time to show homes because the house is usually dressed up for holiday celebrations.
Yeah, the houses look prettier, don't they, in the holiday season?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, what is the thing? Remember, it was a couple of years ago, I suppose, the statistic came out of how many showings do you have to have before you're going to get an offer. Have you ever heard that? Have you ever heard that story? Well, this came down to you have to have at least 10 showings before you can expect really to get an offer on your property. So that tells us, it tells us a lot of things, doesn't it? If you're not getting any showings, you're not going to get an offer.
Right, yeah. And that's a typical marketing type of statistic also. Anytime you're trying to look for somebody to buy something, 10 is seems to be a magic number.
Seems to be that number.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it seems to work. I mean, I've kind of kept track of those if you can look at that. And you have to have people look at it. And so if you're not getting showings, because obviously with 8,500 showings in a month here, if you're not getting showings, then what is it?
Definitely not priced right.
You're priced right. It's the number one thing, isn't it?
Definitely, yes.
I mean, location, I suppose, is a little bit there.
Back on listing your home in the wintertime, Pete, the thing that's an opportunity for the people that are listing their home is, as we know, as Dee said, there's less competition during that time. Yeah. And there's buyers out there, and they're more serious. But agents have more time to focus on the marketing, and that's a big deal. That's where I'm at right now. I have plenty of time to take on new listings, get in there, and really focus on getting them marketed nicely, and make the seller feel like they're getting the attention that they deserve.
Yeah. Good point. I mean, you do have more time in the winter to devote to that.
The other thing is, so if you don't get it sold, you're building momentum in marketing, which takes a while to build up on the internet and everything else to really get some exposure, and you get some age to it. Yeah. And then the offers start coming in, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, you got to sold. You got to get people into your place, right? Or no one's going to look at it. No one's going to see it. And
that's right.
That's how you get them sold. That's always a good thing. Anyway, coming up next here in our final segment, we're going to talk about the Earth Angels Foundation. And wait till you hear this story, folks. It's something really unique that John L. Scott, the brokers, are involved with. And Dee and Don are going to tell us a little bit about that right after. Real Estate Show continues here on KMED this weekend. Pete Belcastro, one of the real estate guys, with you. Joel will be back with us next week, along with Brad Bennington, the CEO of the Home Builders of Jackson County. They've had a heck of a 2015, but the home builders are building too many big houses. They got to build smaller houses around, I think.
Yes, less expensive houses.
Less expensive housing.
Keep them down around the 200,000 range.
Yeah,
that would be really great.
1,400 square feet, 1,500. Let's just, let's do it right.
Get reasonable.
I have to say, I saw that picture that someone's building a 43,000 square foot house in Jacksonville. Personally, I think that is obscene.
Yes.
I find that absolutely a horrible thing. But that's my own.
Hope he's not listening.
It's my own opinion, and I tell him that to his face. No one needs that kind of a thing. Anyway, we're with Dee Wittenberg and Don McCoy here on the Real Estate Show today, and we actually have an honoree, Don, with us. Dee Wittenberg, she just won an award from the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors,
and she is setting a beautiful, wonderful example.
Yeah, it was a service. It was the Volunteer Service Award, I believe it was. Outstanding Service Award from the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors.
Great.
Dee, that's really cool. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Thanks.
Well, good for you. I mean,
you won it 10 years
that.
in a row, right?
No.
Well, what I was so excited, Dee agreed to come on the show to talk about the Earth Angels Foundation. And when I became a John L. Scott broker, I don't know, 4 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago, I can't remember, I heard about this. People would get up and talk about the Earth Angels Foundation, and I really didn't pay much attention to it. And then over time, I began to learn more about it, and it's one of the neatest things that brokers, I think, in the Rogue Valley do. With that intro, Dee, tell us what is the Earth Angels Foundation?
Well, back in 2009, Jimmy De Loretto was the franchise owner of the Medford John L. Scott.
Right.
And he suggested it. He thought, and he was up in the Beaverton area, but he thought it'd be a good idea for a focus here in the Rogue Valley, with the intention of helping families with children. And so several of us agents decided that, okay, we'll go ahead and work on this. And basically, it's we've been designated as a 501c3,
okay.
So it's tax deductible.
So it's tax deductible.
And there are no administration costs because just the people in our office, between the Medford office and the Ashland office, are the ones who are on the board.
So brokers are the officers or the trustees of the foundation.
Yes.
In both Medford and Ashland.
Ashland, yes.
That's really cool. Okay, continue that. How many of you are there on the board?
Well, it fluctuates throughout the year depending on how busy people really are.
Sure.
The most I've seen is about 8.
Okay, well that's good.
So
that's a good number.
Yes.
Okay.
But we have other people who volunteer whenever we have certain projects that we need.
Yeah.
And if not, we make a plea and get people. And but basically, the idea is to help people who slip through the social services cracks.
Okay.
Because there are people who, because of unknown circumstances, they have just an immediate short-term kind of a crisis situation. Mm-hmm. And so we've been able to come up with helping people out for a number of different reasons. for whenever a family's home is burned, or actually whenever a child has passed away and the family couldn't afford a headstone or cremation, and car repairs, rent assistance. Several of the elementary schools in the Valley have received funds from us because there are incidental expenses that the staff feels that they need for things like shoes, sweatshirts, or glasses. And we've contributed to the Rogue Power Pack program, which is weekend lunches for children. There's several dozen things that we've been able to reach out to. And our big project is providing 2 boxes of food for 50 families, plus a gift for the children during the Christmas holiday.
So you ask agents to do this, or how do you tell me how you do this?
Well, the agents and the staff will contribute through their commission checks. Or just checks or cash. And then we have a couple of fundraisers during the year also. And we could reach out to the community also, because it's a 501c3, but we haven't seen that just yet. But it'll be nice. We are on Facebook, and we have a webpage, and we're there to help people out who slip through the cracks.
What I love about it, Dawn, is there's no administrative expenses on a foundation like this, and all the money goes really back into helping those in need. And Jimmy De Loretto, it was families in need, correct?
Yes,
is that what
basically.
It was? Families in need
who slip
to receive
through the social services cracks.
And how? Just a final question on it: how can someone who needs that help, how do they get a hold of you, or how would they go about doing that?
They can call or look at our website or Facebook, and the phone number is 541-494-5363.
Okay. And the web address is on that as what?
It's going to be Medford Earth Angels Foundation.
Medford Earth Angels Foundation.com.
Yes.
Okay. Well, remember that. You know, that's really important. I think it's really cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, last year I participated in helping to put the food boxes together.
Did you?
And then to haul them out to the vehicles and whatnot. And what it does, you know, for people that participate in that, it also adds a little bit of the spirit of the holidays as to what it's really supposed to be about. And it's a phenomenal organization.
Yeah, well, it's
very well
the
run.
The fact that agents are doing it, I think, is really neat to me. I know I was getting a bottle of wine to bring down for an event for it as well.
Mother's Day basket.
Okay, so those kinds of things, and well, that's really cool, and wish you well. And again, if someone can look it up, so the Medford Earth Angels
Foundation.
Medford Earth Angels Foundation. You can look it up and you can find them out there. That's really cool. Dee, good for you. Congratulations again on your outstanding service award from the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. That's another neat thing that you do. See how you keep people busy all the time, aren't we? Brokers do a lot of things.
And they actually pretend they have lives.
That's the hard part.
At times you wonder, don't you, out of this whole thing.
Well, you have to be flexible.
We're almost out of time today, so let me get your back to the market for just a second here as we head out of here, and Thanksgiving is coming up. You think this is going to continue, isn't it, Dawn?
I do.
Dee,
I just think because of the area we're in, even if there's hiccups other parts of the country for whatever the reasons are, our area will continue to be a very strong source, of people coming here, and we're just going to have a good, strong real estate world here.
Yeah.
Having the medical facilities here is a very key aspect of home ownership in this valley and attracting people to come here, because it's really outstanding. It has a great reputation too between the two facilities.
I'm hopeful. And we have so many needs here for jobs. The home builders can't find subcontractors. Some contractors are not out there, and those that they find are charging more. So they're falling behind in bids and increasing prices because we don't have skilled labor in our valley and these kinds of things. We have a lot of needs in terms of making this better.
They have less than half of the numbers of contractors than they used to have.
Yeah, so. and yet they're still building, but not what we need. And so it's just, we're sitting here, and as long as the inventory remains low, the demand is going to continue to be high. I think 2016 is going to be that way.
It's going to be a good year.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And if interest rates go up a little bit, it's still 45-year lows. My goodness.
Well, yes, it is.
Yeah.
And the okay.
Well, anyway, so that'll do it. Dee Wittenberg, Don McCoy, thanks for being with us. You can Google them. You can find them at johnlscott.com. So thank you both, and you have a great Thanksgiving holiday as well. That'll do it for the Real Estate Show. Check us out at realestateshoworegon.com or at YouTube. For Joe Brett, I'm Pete Belcastro. Have a terrific Thanksgiving weekend, everybody, and God bless.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on KMED AM and FM radio, presented by John L. Scott Real Estate of Southern Oregon, along with All Cities Property Management, the Home Builders Association of Jackson County, Ditech Mortgage, the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. For guest information or to watch a past show, visit us online at realestateshoworegon.com. Join us again next weekend for Southern Oregon's one and only Real Estate Show on KMED.